This is Tom. He's a classic race car builder and driver. My name is Harlan, and I'm a motorsports videographer and content creator. We met at Donington Park a few months ago and he said to me, "I'd love to start a YouTube channel. Do you fancy filming us this season?" And I said, absolutely. Fast forward a few months and you join us at his unit, where today he'll be fitting a brand new race engine into a very special race car. Morning, Tom.
Morning, Harlan. Welcome. We're at ADH Classics. This is my workshop.
What are we up to today?
Today, Harlan, we are going to be fitting a brand new race engine that Reggie's just doing a little bit on now into our X-Works MGB. This car was built in 1962, number 14 off the production line. Was then used by BMC to do the Sebring 12-hour race in 1964, where it finished third in class, only being beaten by two Porsche 356s, which we also have in the workshop.
Don't worry, we'll be doing a deeper dive into the amazing history of this car later on.
So that is today's plan. Put that in, get it ready. Straight on the rolling road tomorrow, a couple of runs, probably adjust some jets in the carbs, a bit of timing, and we can go testing next week with it then.
Should be a doddle then.
Well, I hope so, but probably not. It never goes as well as we want it to.
Before we get cracking with this car, can you show us around a bit?
Yeah, there's a few little things in here. So not a race car, but a road car, but we do auto electrics for people. So this is a GC8 1996. This is in for a Haltech R3, Nexus PDM and ECU and Haltech dashboard and a full rewire. So I'll be on that over the next couple of months.
Oh, what have we got here? I mean, look at this.
Which one do you want to start with? We have a 1960 Super B 356 Porsche. We've been building this for the last year and a half, probably coming up 2 years now. It was a complete wreck when it turned up. It was just a shell. This is all the original decals from the late 80s and 90s. We've spent some serious amounts of time on this car, but it's nearly complete now. Brand new engine. We've just had this built by 4-Leaf Clover Classics up in Leeds. They're very good friends of ours. Beautiful work of art. We've installed it, turned it over to make sure we got oil pressure. And as soon as we get the exhaust headers back from ceramic coating, we can fire the thing up. So there'll be a few more months of tinkering with it, but it'll be out racing this year.
What's up above it?
Well, this beautiful thing is an Alfa 105 Giulietta GT Sprint, 1964. It's actually the second one, because unfortunately the first one was wrote off in testing last year. So that's the remnants of the bonnet from the last time we went testing.
Oh no.
And the rest of the car was not very well after that. So we had to do quite an extensive amount of work to rebuild the shell. It's got a 1570cc Alfa twin cam engine. 160-ish horsepower when it was on the rolling road last year. Really, really nice car. I really like this. Hopefully this version will be slightly better. We got so busy we're expanding, so we're slowly taking over this unit next door. We're just waiting for the equipment to be cleared from the previous tenant. The only thing in here that belongs to us is the lathe and the mill. We use them quite extensively. You have to have a lathe and a mill if you want to build classic race cars. Just some random SU carbs off of a Jaguar race car. We've got to send them off because we look after an XK120 for somebody, and the engine for that's being built by Mass Racing in Bedfordshire, and they need these to put on the engine and dyno it, and then we can have that back and we can put that back together next month as well. As you can see, upstairs is a dumping ground again until we get organised. So that's what's left to go back on the Alfa, really. Thankfully it's a race car, so there's not too much to go back in. Well, we've got two Subaru engines in bits here and some more Subaru bits there, and a customer's entire car is on the shelving there. So we're reshelling a car for a customer. There's some Subaru bits in here.
Oh my god, it's a Subaru room.
Subaru room, and we have Alfa panels in here as well. This is another storage facility. This is where we put all the freshly painted parts to stay out of the way. So these are all the new panels to go back on the Alfa. This is the Subaru I was on about that's being reshelled. Sadly, the seals are gone and inner arches are gone. We imported for the customer an STI shell. It's really clean and tidy, so we're going to reshell the car basically. This is all nice and clean, completely rot free, low mileage Japanese import. And then this is mine. This is my trusty Clio 172 Cup car. It's got all the right bits and pieces on it. We use it for driver training and tuition, so when I've got to train new drivers and coach people for their ARDs, I take the Clio and it goes around the track really well. And it just keeps going. Doesn't matter how many times my students miss a gear or I miss a gear or we bounce it off the limiter, it just keeps going and going and going. For the value, It's the most fun you can possibly have, I think. But that's it, that's us. Yeah, nothing too fancy. I don't spend too much time in the office, I spend most of my time downstairs, thankfully. Let's go put an engine in a MGB.
And so Tom and Reggie got to work preparing the car and engine for fitting.
I'm Reg, or Reggie, whatever you like to call me. This is the engine we had just come back from Oselli. They're kind of experts in MGB engines.
Oselli have been building engines since 1962 and are known as one of the top engine builders in the UK. This 4-cylinder 1.85 litre engine has been freshly built for this car. Built to FIA regulations, this engine will produce 160 horsepower. Unfortunately, the boys quickly ran into their first problem. He's struggling a little bit for clearance.
Just a little, it's always tight on the steering rack on one of these.
So steering rack out just to give you a bit more space.
Yeah, it gives us another inch or so of clearance to drop the engine.
So Tom dropped the steering rack down. However, the engine and input shaft wouldn't mate up properly. Tom quickly diagnosed that the spigot bearing was the wrong size. So the clutch had to come off and a new bearing had to go in.
Look at that. Wonderful trick that is. Pack it full of grease and then just hammer the right size piece in and it will punch the, starts pushing the bearing out.
Is that the clutch tool?
There we go.
With a new spigot bearing in place and the clutch back together, the team offered the engine up to the car once again, only to run into yet another issue. So, engine back out.
Engine back out, so there seems to be a clearance issue with the cover plate on the clutch to the bell housing.
How would you get around that?
We will be sanding and linishing the inside of the bell housing until it clears.
With the engine back out, Tom coated the clutch cover plate with engineer's paste, allowing him to see where any contact might be being made.
And as an apprentice, it was quite comical to find this smeared under the edge of your drawers. So when you went to open your toolbox, you got it all over your hand. Or inside your hard hat, or if you left your woolly hat lying around.
The engine was then refitted and removed one more time, and with the help of an angle grinder, the bell housing was lightly sanded back. Unfortunately though, despite all this fettling, there'd be one final spanner in the works. The gearbox's input shaft was slightly too long, and so the angle grinder came out once more. At long last, everything lined up, and the engine could finally be bolted into the car. Before the team began bolting up all the ancillaries so they could finally fire the MG into life, it was time to have some lunch, and Tom taught me through more of the amazing history of this car.
Yeah, we got all the history on the red car being an ex-works car, one of 3. There's its twin. The white one's disappeared off the face of the earth and no one's ever found it. So yeah, these were built by the Americans on behalf of BMC in '63 for the '64 attempt at the Sebring 12-hour. We've still got all the original bits, like the spotlights and the tow eye and this bonnet strap. I took them all off and put them all in a box. And there's our car in 64 racing. Original technical inspector and entry.
Oh my god.
And there's the serial number, as you can see, 000114, which means it was number 14 off the production line. This is the original Sports Car Club of America logbook. BMC MG. Roll bar, roll cage checks, driver signatures. So this was its logbook it continued its life with, so I think that's the livery it was last raced in without the roof, so before it got restored back to how it was. We race with that number and we're allowed to because it was a works car, so we generally get preference. So even if someone else is racing with number 47, they will tell that person normally that they can't use that number. It's a lovely thing to drive. I think this is Laguna Seca. I think these photos were taken for the reunion. We've got photos of when it was restored.
Wow.
All the original parts were dug out and used again. It's got aluminium wings, you see, which there's only 3 sets of ever made. You cannot get them. You'd have to have them handmade again. So this is a copy of the parts list from BMC for all their special parts. It's a heritage certificate from when it was brought back to the UK for MG, British Motor Industries Heritage, to say yes, that is the car. Here's some period photos of it racing at Sebring. Others in the garage being worked on at Sebring. There it is, coming down the pit straights at Sebring. No wall or anything like there is today.
This specific car even has its own Scalextric model. It doesn't get much cooler than that. With the history lesson over, it was time to get back to work. The MG was booked on for a rolling road session at 9 AM the next day, so it was full steam ahead from here. As time pressed on and the light began to fall, more and more people turned up to help. Between Tom, Reggie, Tom's dad Jim, race mechanic Ben, and friend Jason, the MG neared closer and closer to its first start. Pizza's here, and the car is so close to being started.
Just got to do the timing and then we'll be there.
It's a good time to be alive right now, isn't it?
I don't know about that yet.
With the timing all set, it was time to finally fire up the car for the first time. Unfortunately though, the car was still not happy. Not only was the engine misfiring, it was also idling far too high. Tom quickly diagnosed an air leak in the carb, which was causing our idle issue.
We've just got the static timing set close enough that it can go to the rolling road. We're not on all 4 cylinders though, so we're just going to whip the plugs out. Probably got one fouled up from where we were messing around.
Yeah, they're cooked. Fouled up really badly. So they're getting over-fueled, and if I replace it, look, sooty. Yeah, and that just stops the spark from being efficient. It just short circuits down the side.
Would you be able to clean them up and go again?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll clean up. This is just purely where we've been setting up.
And with the new plugs in, and after 14 hours of working on the car, Tom, been a long day, mate.
It's been a bit of a challenge today. It's fought us every step of the way, but she's in, running, oil pressure's good, sounds really healthy, so pretty much get it in the trailer now, get it to the rolling road tomorrow, let JPR work their magic on tuning the engine, and then we'll be back here with it tomorrow afternoon, 4-wheel alignment, corner waiting, and then off to the valeters on Thursday. They'll give it a complete once-over, engine bay and everything, clean all my mucky handprints off of it. But yeah, I think we've got it there now. A few things had to be changed today. Never easy. Sometimes it is, but just not today. Just not gone entirely our way. But that's motorsport for you. Brand new stuff doesn't fit half the time. Got to make bits and pieces up, differences between this engine and the old engine. But yeah, it's there. I'm happy. Sounds good. We should be able to have some good results this year. It's been really nice having you here filming today, Harlan. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Stay tuned and see us at Landau next week.
If you've made it this far and enjoyed the video, we'd love it if you could leave us a like. And don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up with us as we head into the 2026 racing season. Thank you so much for watching.